Good evening, good evening, good evening to everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Reliable Sources, where we're doing our best to make sure that everything we talk about is reliable. We're so grateful and we're so glad that you decided to tune in on tonight and listen. Why don't you email someone, text someone, and encourage them to tune into the program. We got a wide range of things um, that we're going to be covering, and we want you to be a part. We want you to be a part of that. So I encourage you to text them and let them know that Reliable Sources is on the air. Thank you so much, Marcinda, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tanya, for tuning in. And we're so grateful for the information that we can get to be a tremendous help and a tremendous blessing to one another. So we're grateful again. Cousin daughter Keisha, we thank you for honing in as well. We appreciate it. Thank you for hitting the share button. Marcinda, thank you for hitting the share button. And we're going to, again, today, we're going to be dealing with a wide variety of topics. Need you all's opinion and just to see how we can get smarter. That's one of the things that I really been concerned about and thinking about and wanted to sort of put with all the things we do and say, let's get smarter. So that's what the program is about, us getting smarter. Thank you, Kiki, for honing in and sharing. And we're going to get smarter. We're going to talk about some of the things that's happening in our society today. The overturning of Roe versus Wade. We want to talk about that. We want to talk about our political situation. We want to see if there's any way that are we better than we were, say, 50 years ago when Roe versus Wade was enacted into law. Are we better than? And I'm talking about generally. I'm not just talking about Roe versus Wade. I'm talking about everything politically, religiously, um, the whole gambit, the whole gambit. And we want to get your spin on some of these things. So, again, thank y'all for honing in, and we're going to get smarter. I don't know everything. I know some things, and I guess with what I know, what you all know, we can be a tremendous asset to one another. So I'm gonna throw the general question out there and let you all give me some feedback. I want to know, some of you all uh, may not be as astute as I am, not because of your lack of intelligence, but most of y'all was in baby heaven when the question I'm going to ask you about. So you gotta do some research and use your imagination with the question that I'm about to ask. All right, so that's what I want to ask. What I hit the top of the program with. Do you think? Well, we know that Roe versus Wade was signed into law in 50 years ago, 1973. Right at 50 years ago, and at that time they say that it was not illegal to have abortions. Now they've overturned that, and they're saying that it's illegal um, to have abortions. And so we want to dive in on that. We want to know, are we better economically uh, now than we were 50 years ago, or as far back as your mind could go? When I say economically, I'm talking the whole gambit. I'm talking about gasoline prices, food, jobs, careers. So I guess we can throw opportunities, financial opportunities, career opportunities, etc. And are we better politically? Are the candidates, to your knowledge, better today than they were 50 years ago? And if not, we need to know why. And then we also need to know what can we do personally, or as far as everybody that's in our circle, what can we do to be better, to become smarter, without panicking and being scared, because that gets you nothing but in a corner, um, and cause you not to even be able to function properly because of fear. Fear is a powerful weapon that's used against us to keep us from going forward. All right, so what do you think? I'm asking anyway. Dive on any subject, anyone, as far back as you can remember to present. Um, you can comment on any of the aforementioned things that I talked about, or if you want to deal with Roe versus Wade, because you can tell that's going to be in our face for a while, and our nation was already divided. It's just going to help divide the nation even the more. So, with that said and done, hone in. Tell me what you think. If you got a way that we can move forward, tell us how we can move forward. Are we better now than then, as far back as your mind can go? Was it better then versus now? If so, how? If not, how or why? And how can we move forward? So let's get smarter. Let's get smarter. Good evening, Stephanie. The question is not to you; it's to all of us. Let's get smarter. Can I get some water, please? So, all right. Anybody, give me your perspective. And remember, there's never a wrong or stupid question. There's never a wrong or stupid answer. Um, so let's make sure that we do that. All right. Here's somebody I can't make you out saying love you, Unc. So they got to be one of my nieces. So who are you? Your face is not clear on the page, so I can't make you out. But anyway, you're one of my nieces. You know I love you. All right. So where are we? How can we? Are we better? Are we worse? Is it getting? Is the potential there to get better? Is the potential there to get worse? I want to hit you with this, and maybe we can go from here. Today, this afternoon, I met with a couple bankers. Went to the bank and had an appointment with them about some other things, and we got on, since they were bankers. We got on the subject of the economy, and I asked them, what do they think the economy is? What kind of place, what kind of shape is it in, and where is it going? And we'll talk about that after we deal with what Tanya's response. Tanya says, with careers, it's better for the black race. Back then, it was very hard for a black man or woman to have the job title that we stand in now in 2022. All right. Anybody agree or disagree? Why would you you make that a pretty emphatic statement, Tanya? Why would you say that? You say it's better. You say with careers, it's better for a black race or black back then rather. It was very hard for a black man or woman to have the job titles that we stand in now. Okay, I need to. Can you tell me why? Give me a why. Um, why was the case such? Anyone else can comment on that if you so desire. You can comment on that. And do we need to and what can we do um, to if this is true what she's saying? What can we do to keep the momentum going? What can we do to solidify that? Um, It's better now. It's better now. Okay, there's somebody agreeing with Tanya. It's better now. Even though we're qualified, even though we are qualified for the job, but most of the time it was given to an unqualified with different race quicker than it was for a black race that was unqualified for the job title. Hmm, okay. And I like the way you said that most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. Anyone else agree with her on that? Um, because certain races do not want to work now. Okay. Now y'all are giving me some very good points, responses, but I need to know why and which one of my nieces or nephews is this that's responded. They really didn't work back then. Okay, these are great responses, but I need you to know why you all feel like that. Why do you feel that it was easier for black man or black woman to get a job now than it was then? And Tanya, responded again by saying, even though we qualified for the job, most of the time they were given to unqualified people of a different race that were than it was for blacks. And I guess this is a niece or a nephew of mine that said, but certain races do not want to work. They really didn't work. They really didn't work back then. And we're finally getting to do just getting to just do that what we're supposed to get. Oh, okay, gotcha. We're getting to just do that we're supposed to get. All right, okay. I hear y'all, but why? I mean, why is that so? Is that because of legislative laws? Is that because of Black Lives Matter? Um, is the playing field equal or level or better? Why is that? Why is that the case? And if I need to know why is that the case. Stephanie, you've been pretty quiet. Marcinda, you've been pretty quiet. Keisha, you've been quiet. But anyway, y'all fire back at me and let me know. I need a response to this. We're getting our just due. But I need to know why was it like we weren't getting our just due back then? And why are we getting our just due now? Why are these things happening? And I guess you guys are um, typing up your comment. Yeah, okay. Typing up your comment. No, it's not an equal playing field. It's not equal for us. That's what I'm seeing. It's not equal. I'm still not getting what I want to hear. Marcinda says she's still recuperating. Okay. All right. I feel you. I got you. I got you. I am somewhat too. But I want to say this. I'll give you my spin why I think it was better. Somebody mentioned about, I think it was Tanya said the opportunities are better now. That is true. It's an old saying that is really true. The first one through the wall always get hurt. And there were people that got hurt for us to enjoy what we're enjoying now. Stephanie says, I think she say, think the mindset of the people has changed. We're starting to see that our future is what we make it. That's true. That's good. That's really good. Keisha, it's better in some areas. There's still some underlying hidden agendas. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tanya, I think it's because many are fighting for their right to be equal. to the next man, regardless of race. All right, those are some good responses. Those are some good responses. I love all of them. I like what Steph is saying about, we're starting to see that our future is what we make it. There's still some underlying things that will try to hinder us. I know that's right, Keisha. And then Tanya is saying people are starting to fight for their equality. That's really one of the most powerful things I was looking for. All right, my relative here say the job titles we have now have a more have more workloads than the past. Um, I don't know about that. Seemed like the task was a little harder then than it is now. That's just my personal opinion. And the reason I'm saying that because it was easier then for them to have one person doing two jobs because they knew that you weren't going to quit and they knew that if you didn't do it, they would fire you. And jobs were hard to grasp. I'm talking years ago, and at least 50 years ago, to my knowledge, jobs were hard to grasp. And so they would say, do this, and you pretty much had to do it. Um, all right, and I agree with that. It depends on what the job is, what kind of job it is. I agree with that. Well, I'll give you my spin. Again, obviously, I think I'm older than everybody on the page, but I saw how things really changed from um, 50 years ago, again, which was, right at 1973. God, I can't believe I've been out of high school that long. That was the year I graduated. But I can remember even before that, you could get gas. When gas was like 27 cents a gallon. I remember when I could go, I used to go up to the pool room, which was like half a block up the street from me, and I would buy a honey bun, bag of chips, and a 16-ounce pop. I mean, a real bag of chips. Nowadays the bag's not even. It got a lot of air in it. But then the bags were filled up to the top. That was my favorite thing, and I remember I can get that. I remember I used to get it for a quarter. And I remember when it went to 45 cents back in '73. So, the cost of living was really down. We hadn't been too long. We were like maybe 7 years removed, maybe 10 years removed from a recession when we had to get commodity or government cheese, government cereal, powdered eggs, etc., etc. So things were starting to come around. Jobs were starting to be available. I can remember my brother-in-law getting hired around that time for General Motors, and he ended up retiring before he passed. And I remember him saying he when he got hired, he just wanted to work. He wasn't thinking about no 30 plus years that he worked for Hydromatic General Motors before he retired because jobs were plentiful. You can quit one factory, General Motors, and easily go get a job at Ford, leave Ford, go to Chrysler, and so forth and so on. Yeah, so things were, as far as economics, cost of living. What's that word? Recession. I can't not recession. It's not what I'm looking for, but the cost of living was down. It wasn't like it is now. So that's my spin on then versus now. And I think that's when they started shortly thereafter, when things started, prices and things were elevating and going up in the 80s. That's when they started implementing cost of living into people's paycheck. All right. Also, back then, this is Tanya talking to us. Back then, they didn't have these robots and different machines that's doing most of the work. But back then, they had they had cut steel by hand and other things like rubber and glass. Tanya, you're so right. I remember I worked for Ford Motor Company and I worked for Mazda. And I remember when I worked for Mazda, um, a robot took my job and they gave him a name, called him Jack Morris. Jack Morris was a pitcher for the Tigers in the 80s. And that's when they first started, to my knowledge, implementing robots. And what the robot would do, he would take a tire, stick the information about the tire, when they just start coming with those little small spares, and he would stick the information on there in Japanese and Spanish and USA. He'd stick it on there, then he grabbed the robot, would grab the tire and throw it. That's what I was doing. The robot kicked me out of a job. But yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of things that we did, the robots are doing it now. Hey, it's really crazy. I remember in the 90s when our church was on the east side of Detroit, I can remember telling people that there were going to be robots doing everything, and they are now. It's a golf course that we play in Ann Arbor called Stonebridge. And let's see, 1, 2, 3. On the fourth hole, there's been several times that we've rode past this house right by the course, and a robot is cutting the grass. It scared us the first time we saw it. We played there during COVID about 2 years ago. I mean, it blew us away. Really, it sort of scared us. But that's where society is now. It's amazing how robots is really being implemented into doing things that we as humans used to do. Okay, it wasn't so much of a high demand. It's all about supply and demand. Yes, that's where we are now. When I was talking to the banker, that's one of the things that came up: supply and demand. Um, but we really we need to be aware of these things so we know how to adjust ourselves to be able, you know, um, with the help of God, sustain ourselves during these tough times. We're living in an age, Stephanie says, where you can find success without being connected to a corporation, i.e., starting your own business. I like that. Investing in the stock market, trading, etc. If you're willing to fight for and work towards a better life, you can have it regardless of color. Many times, our lack of confidence, passion, gets in the way of living the life God has made for us. Our lack of confidence, passion gets in the way of living the life that God has made for us. You're absolutely right. The only thing I would differ with now, and I put emphasis on now, Steph, the stock market and trading is not a good thing right now, unless you really, 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 really know what you're doing, because of the instability of the economy. But that is some very good stuff, and I'm gonna come back and revisit what you just said. Back in the day, you could graduate from high school, get a job, yep, with the big three, and pretty much be set for life. Those days are now gone. You're absolutely right. That was the thing. Get out of high school, hit one of the big three or the like, and you were set for life. And you're absolutely right. Those days are gone now. And then right after that, if you remember, it was get out of school, go to college, get out of high school, go to college, and then get your career started. Well, we found out that those days are gone, because there are more people today, this day, that have debt from college than at any other time in our society. So they found out that whatever you went to school for was no guarantee that a job would be waiting for you when you got out of college. And so now what people start doing is what, to go back to what you said earlier, Steph, is they're starting to become entrepreneurs. Some are not even going to college; they're going straight into entrepreneurship, and they're making it from there. But you got to have a plan, and you got to have passion. Okay, sometimes is who you know and not what you know. That's true. That is absolutely right. I totally agree with that. It's not always what you know; it's who you know. And that's one of the reasons sororities were really, really, really popular about 20 years ago. They're still popular, but about 20 years ago, they were really popular because they would get in key positions in different corporations around the country. And even sometimes they had connections outside the country, and they would take their sorority brothers and sisters and make sure that they had a place of employment. But yeah, I like what Steph said about us lacking confidence, passion. It gets in our way, and you almost can't um, take off. And what I mean by that is you can't let your passion and your confidence go, even when you arrive, because it's hard to get it back. Um, and what really gets me is one of the things that happens is like um you can have stuff in the front of your mind. If you don't have confidence and passion, it'll go to the middle of your mind, because other things called life will get in that space and push it to the middle of your mind. Life will push it to the back of your mind, and before you know it, it'll be out of your mind. And there goes your dream and your vision and your passion to get things done. So I know that it's very important that we if you don't if God haven't given you um, a vision for what you love to do, you need to ask Him. You need to seek Him about, what can I do? What do I love doing? Like in my case, before I became a pastor, um, I wanted to um, be a barber. With Detroit Barber College, I was going to set up, and I had a clientele. Wow, I had more than I can handle. But I was going to set up me a boutique on the east side of Detroit and the west side of Detroit, and then the Lord called me the pastor, so I couldn't give the attention that I wanted to for that. But this is my point. I started cutting. At the time I had four boys, and I started cutting their hair. And I cut it, because the price of getting haircuts was going up. It's crazy now. But I started cutting their hair, and I had a neighbor. His sister was on last week. His name was John Eddie McGuire, and he's going on to be with the Lord. He's a great guy, and his sister was on last week. But anyway, he helped me because he was a professional barber. We stayed in the same apartment. Gave me some tippers, gave me some clippers, sold me some clippers, and but anyway, I started cutting my boys' hair, and then I started cutting people's hair at the church. And before you know it, I had to, because I was cutting at my house, at the church, and the clientele just wouldn't allow me to keep doing that. So my point of emphasis, I started doing it for free. And so anything that you would do for free could be something passionate that God has put in you to make money off of it. But how sincere are you going to be? How passionate are you going to be? And then, as our Facebook user said, supply and demand. One thing about that, and I really wanted to get to the economy, and I hope I do. But one thing about the supply and demand, and you're so accurate about that, is that when we go do something, we got to see, is it a market for what we want to do? Is there a market for cutting hair? Uh, Steph, I see you. uh, Steph, you're funny. But you're funny. But is there a market for? And I'm just using cutting hair now. All right, yeah, there's a market obviously for a barber or for a beautician. But now, um, do I need to be? I'm giving you this example. Do I need to be in a great location, or can I be like John the Baptist? John the Baptist was in the wilderness, and people came all the way through the wilderness, treaded through reptiles and venomous creatures and stuff to get there to hear him preach. So I know some people, their business is way off the beaten path, so to speak, but people go to them. There's some churches way off the beaten path, but they're packed. Well, they're not packed now, but they used to be packed because whatever the preacher had, whatever the business owner had, there was a demand for it, and they were so good that people didn't mind traveling whatever distance they needed to travel to get their product or to hear them speak or whatever the case was. So in our case, when we're pursuing our passion, our vision, we got to make sure that we've done all of our research, our demographics, geographics. You got to do all that, and there's information, obviously on the internet that can tell you all about the demographics and geographics to whatever it is that you're doing. But you got to be consistent. You got to be passionate. All right, and then Tanya tells us, and you're absolutely right. It's really word of mouth and advertising. That has been said forever, and it's so absolute. The best advertisement is word of mouth. That's the best. When people love your cooking, love your haircuts, or whatever the case may be, and they tell people, and people that trust them tell people, and so forth and so on, and hence your business boom. But we got to always remember this too. We got to always be at our best because you only have one time to make a first impression, and so your first impression got to blow people away. Whatever you're designed to do, it has to blow them away. If they never like that again, the first time got to be your best time. If people know that you're a good cook and you open a restaurant, they're coming out to eat. You're absolutely right. And so you just basically was typing what I was already saying. But yeah, so and what we have to do. I don't know, was it Bishop Charlotte or Horn? One of them said, like, I look good on my worst days, or I'm good on my worst days. Like what they're basically saying, you're not gonna see my worst days, or you're not gonna be able to tell it's my worst day. I thought that was pretty phenomenal. Like in other words, you're gonna do your best to always put your best foot forward. And again, I see Ken Folk says the key word is being consistent, and you're so accurate, you're so absolute. Whatever we're doing, we gotta be consistent. And then you got to remember this. The Bible talks about how um, despise not small beginnings. The distance of 1,000 miles. If I leave here and drive to Jackson, Mississippi, and I've done it before, that's the furthest I've ever driven. But it all starts with one step. You got to, you may only be able to take one step at a time, but that one step got to be a short step. And then you can't despise small beginnings. In other words, you can't get so frustrated because this thing is not moving like I want it to. My dreams, my visions, my goals. they're not moving like I want them to. You can't get so frustrated until we throw in the towel or we quit. That's what we got to do. And then we gotta refer back to what our motto is that you see it in the background. All of our sources have to be reliable. They gotta be reliable. And I'm gonna tell you this, and and this is where this program came from. Some of you all know the late great Dr. Richard D. Hinton from Chicago, Illinois, pastor of Monument of Faith Ministries. He had to tell me something one time, and he called me. He said, come here, preacher. I want to tell you something." And I went over to him. He said, "Now I heard this from a reliable source." This was probably 20 years plus ago. He said, "I heard this from a reliable source." He said, "But you got to watch them reliable sources." He said, "Because sometimes they're relying, and that stuck with me 20 years ago. And see, like for instance, uh, uh, let me just use Stephanie for a moment, and we're gonna get to you, Marcinda. Stephanie, I'm her godfather. She trusts me to the utmost. So if I tell Stephanie something, she's going to believe it. That's why it's imperative that I do my research to whatever I tell her, because if I haven't done the research to whatever I'm telling her, if somebody told me or whatever the project is, and I've done my research, it's not true, I'm lying, which makes me rely. So we want to make sure that we always search and do our research. Okay, Marcinda, you have to put your mind on what you want to do first. Then plans and emotions will or should manifest. That's true. You gotta do something. I look at it like driving a car at night. Some of y'all probably heard me use this illustration before. Your car is parked on the street. It's dark. When you start it up, most of your cars now, the lights come on and they shine. But the light only shines so far. And if you never move, you're never going to have light in extended areas. And it's the same way with our dreams, with our visions. The preacher is coming out of me now. We're getting close to the Lord. Things with Marcinda, that's really good. Things would never manifest if you don't move forward. We got to learn how to move forward in order for light to shine. It's like, why? Let me say it like this. Why would God waste time showing you something and you're not doing anything for what He's already showed you? So why would life or purpose show you more than you've already been showed if you're not doing anything with what's already been showed you? We must learn how to maximize whatever season of our life we're in. We got to learn how to maximize it. We got to learn how to be in the moment. But when the moment is over, you got to move. I want to say that again. We have to learn how to be in the moment. But the moment is going to end at some point. And what happened when the moment ends and it's time to move to another place, it's time for God want to move us to another place. We want to stay in the moment. Then that moment is gone. It's no longer there. It no longer exists. But we'll stay there like that moment is still existing. Maximize the moment. Take full advantage of the moment. But when God tells you to move from this moment, go to another level, another position in your life, another part of the purpose of your life, you got to do it. If not, you're going to miss everything that God has in store for you, everything that life has in store for you. There's always room for another level. You're absolutely right, Tanya. Always room for another level. Then we got to remember this also, you all. And you hear me talk about it. I know Marcinda has read my book on it. She can quoted better than me about it's your time. Stop wasting it. You got to remember that once a certain time is gone, a day, a week, a month, it's over, and you can never get it back. And so we got to really learn how to take advantage or maximize the moment. But when that moment is gone, then we got to be we got to be gone. We got to be going with the next thing that God has in store for us for our life. We got to go to the next move. Got to go to the next plan. We can't stay for me. Thank you, Keisha. Get out of our get out of our comfort zone. It was hard for me. I'm serious when the 21st century came in, the turn of the century. And I know some of y'all remember what was that stuff? Y2K. Computers gonna shut down. People were buying these big safes and taking money out of the bank because the computers were supposed to shut down. Grocery was supposed to be all messed up. And so I said this publicly before, so I'm saying it again. My wife had water and canned goods and stuff in the basement, because I believed it and didn't believe it. She believed it. And so that morning, when January 1st came in, nothing really changed. January 1st, 2000 seemed just like January 1st, 1999. You did too, huh, Marcinda? Yeah, it seemed just like January 1st, 1999. So my point of emphasis is I was since nothing changed, it was hard for me to adapt and change for the 21st century. It took me a few years because I'm like, where's my 8-track tape? I mean, no, I ain't that bad, but it was hard for me to really accept that change happens on the inside before it manifests on the outside. In other words, sometimes change is subtle. I'm talking about economically and socially. Change is subtle. And if you're not really locked in and paying attention, things can be changing before your very eyes and you'll never know it. Just like the earth is always evolving. I mean, the earth is moving now, but we can't tell. And so that's the way change can be sometimes. It can be evolving right in our presence. We're not locked in and we'll miss it. Okay. Stephanie says, Kiki, where are you? Kiki, where are you? Stephanie didn't say that. That's me saying that. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. Quit quitting. I love that. And you can't let fear and man. Okay, so what you want to do, Steph? You want to go on and take over and tell us what else to do? Because, I mean, you are so on point. You are so on point. Absolutely right. Whenever you don't feel you can be taught anything, you're really dead. I mean, even though you're still breathing, going to work and doing whatever, but you don't feel you can learn anything else, your life is stopped. Your life is over. So you got to know that you can learn there is Kiki. Okay. Kiki said, I'm listening, but you're too intelligent not to comment. I received that though reluctantly. But anyway, once you stop learning, you're done. You can learn anything from anybody, from life every day. We should learn something every day. And did not you know you can even learn from a fool if it's nothing else but how not to be a fool? You learn from everybody. Okay, so thank y'all for all of that input. I want us to really lock in. We're all saved. We're all Christians, so I can talk to you real plain. We want to lock in on God and watch how the next 6 months is going to fare for us. It's going to be glorious, y'all. I'm expecting the unexpected in a great way for all of us, and I hope y'all got that. I'm expecting the unexpected in a great way for all of us. So, but we need to lock in. We need to get a plan. We need to what's the word I'm looking for? Let me just say it like this: reevaluate yourself as a person, your confidence level. I mean, just everything about you. That's the first thing you do when you reevaluate yourself. That's number one. Then reevaluate yourself with God. How are we? How is that? All right. And whatever you need to tidy up with the Lord or with yourself, fix that, tidy that up, and then reevaluate your finances. Don't allow your mind to tell you that you're on a fixed income. Don't allow your mind to tell you that, because as you think in your heart, Proverbs 23:7, so are you. If you think your income is fixed, it's fixed. Nothing you can do to get out of that. All right. So what you got to do is say, I'm gonna the word preacher said it the other day, repositioning us. God's reposition us. You got to reposition yourself. You got to reevaluate, and then you got to keep God in the reevaluation. That's spiritually, it's physically, emotionally, and financially. You got to keep God into all of that. Okay, that's it for me. I need more confidence. Okay, all right, and and we're gonna be doing. I got some upcoming stuff. We're gonna be talking about how to get confidence and how to keep confidence, and the little small steps that we need to do um, to make sure that we got it and that we keep it. She's saying, "Amen, sis. You're not alone." And you know what? And that's that. And I'm so glad for your honesty, um, because that's the first step to improvement is to acknowledge that, hey, I can be better here. So once we acknowledge I can be better here, now I can. Because if I don't think I need to be better, I'm not going to do anything to be better. But if I feel that I can be better here, then that's what I'm gonna do. So one of the things that I would encourage for confidence building is reading. Reading. First thing to read, obviously, is the Bible. Read it and do everything within your power to believe it. And really, and putting emphasis. Both of y'all is not alone. All right, here's Trinice coming in. She's saying you're not alone. Okay, but when you think about it, just from a biblical standpoint, the Bible says the children of the world are wiser than the children of light. And the reason the Lord is saying that, they take biblical principles and believe them, even though they're not saved, but they believe them biblical principles. Now, another key point is this: God says, I don't know how many times, according to your faith, all things are possible. See, you got to more than intellectually process that. You got to process that spiritually. You may have to tell yourself that several times a day, just in your mind, because as I think in my heart, that's what I'm gonna become. So I'm telling you ways, Tanya, me too. Um, I'm gonna really be giving. Okay, so all right, I got it. I gotta. We're gonna blast and blow this up on next week, talking about confidence, how to get it. And see, a lot of people are arrogant, and people think that's confidence. That's arrogance. There are some people that they're not. Let me say this also. When you see people that curse a lot, they have a small vocabulary. They're not confident. Their vocabulary is small, so they fill it in with cursing. Not all, but a lot of people. I know people that are not intelligent, but people think they're intelligent, so they're loud and almost like a bully. I'm talking Christians, almost like a bully, because they don't want you to see their lack of confidence. And so they hide it with a lot of noise. But I'm going to give you all some tools, biblical tools and natural tools to build your confidence, to be able to go to the next dimension that you should go to, and more importantly, that God wants you to go to. The next dimension of your life. See, there are levels. Look at it from this standpoint. Whenever you walk upstairs, every time you walk up a stair, you're taking another level. You're hitting another level, another level. And then at some point, you come to the top of the stairs, wherever it's at, in an office plaza, in your house, in school, in the hospital, wherever it's at, wherever you are, when you walk upstairs, you're going to another level. And then at some point, that level turns into a dimension. In other words, you made it up all the levels. Now you're in a whole nother dimension. This is what your confidence does. Your confidence helps you get to another level that eventually turns into a dimension. And you can look back from where you were, and you can look at where you are at this next dimension. There are all kind of things that are waiting for you. There are lessons you've learned. There's financial increase. There's ways you'll be surprised how you can keep yourself healthy. When you think about the Bible, Mary Hart, doeth good like a medicine. How Paul say, I think myself happy. The joy of the Lord is your strength. These are powerful, powerful scriptures. And beloved, I would above all things that you would prosper, be in health, even as your soul prosper. Look at the balance that the Lord wants us to have. And so it all has something to do with confidence. We're going to really talk about that. Confidence in speaking, the importance of eye-to-eye contact when you're talking to someone, knowing that people can read you 30 seconds into a conversation. They'll know you. And what I mean by that, they can tell who you are. But we're gonna talk about if you have to speak, sweaty palms, shaky knees, shortness of breath, dry throats, just a lot of things to help build your confidence, to help you be the best version of you that God would have you to be. So I'm looking forward to it. I can tell you all are. Bring me some questions for next week. Get them, have them together. We'll dive back in if need be to talking about the economy, where we are socially versus where we were. Is it a better place? Are we going to get better? So forth and so on. We'll eventually get back into that as well. But I can see that we need, and Tanya just said it, Lord, give me next level confidence. And that's what we're going to work on. We're going to work on that. And I'm real excited about that. Hey, y'all, I love y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for honing in. We're going to do this again on next week, and we're going to really look to go a whole lot higher. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you and love you so much. And hey, we had a great time also, didn't we, y'all, on last week? Yeah, we're gonna build on that. And I'm excited, y'all. And I'm gonna say this, and I got to go up there. I told Bishop Charlo that I'm gonna be calling with some testimonies because some phenomenal things are gonna happen to you. And always remember that if somebody tells you something and they haven't done their homework and it's a lie, they're relying to you. We want to always make sure that all of our sources are reliable. God bless you. Love you much. Can hardly wait to get with you next time. Have a blessed day.